Hey everyone, it's Mr. coming at you with another video on Unit 6, Lesson 5. We're manipulating elements. So I'll kind of cut to the chase here, go straight to the code. We're going to basically use the ArrayList class to come up with a bunch of methods. So what's really cool about this is, again, I just want to point you back to the documentation, and we're going to go to this java.util ArrayList. And if I pop that out into a new window, what we're going to see is we're going to see a bunch of the methods that the ArrayList is able to handle. So we have things called add, right? If you want to add at the end of a list, you'll remember this is called append item if you're from comp sci principles doing JavaScript. There's the get method, right? And there's all this other stuff in here. So definitely check that out as you're doing these coding. Okay, first things first. So on module 6, I chose part A. So for choice A, what I want to do is I have a bunch of client names and their phone numbers, right, on my contacts. So what I want to do is I want to go to address book and I want to make a new method called get contact. And it looks like there's a parameter of index. So we need to kind of pay attention to that. One of the things I would highly encourage you to do is always go take a look at the code and just see what's happening. So we have something that's using the array list. It looks like we have an array list of contacts, and that's pointing to the contact class, which makes sense because this makes the contact for the name and a phone number. So all of that's there, which is pretty cool. Okay, so then if I take a look at the method, right, we have this array list of contacts. Here, I just merely need to use the get method to return the contact at the specified index. Okay, so you might be saying you should probably take a look at what is the get method. So let's take a look at get. Here's get. So get is looking at the method is used to retrieve the element at a specified position in an array list. So if I did get parentheses 5, it would give me whatever it is that's in that array list element number 5. So it's pretty cool to have, right? So let's take, oh, sorry, I zoomed in quite a bit, and let me just reset that. So we want to use the get method, and what we want to do with the get method is we want to just merely get at some specified index value. So we don't need anything fancy here. You just need to use the array list, which is called contacts, and then use the get method. And the parameter for the get method is that index value, right? And it makes sense. We're using an index value as a parameter, and we're going to use it here for the get. Let's go ahead and run it to make sure there's no issues, which it looks good. And then finally, they want you to then edit the contact. Okay, so here you'll notice that they use the index, the string name, and the string phone. This case, they want you to use the set method. So I'm going to go back to code.org, the documentation, look at the set method. For the set, it very specifically says, hey, give me the index value for the parameter and one element. Okay, so the key feature there is the one element. There's a problem here. Do you see how for the contact, they have a name and a phone, right? So if you take a look at the tester class, you'll see there's Emily Johnson and here's the phone number. They are not tied together yet. So what we need to do is we need to use this go to contact.java, and we need to use the constructor, and the constructor will take Emily Johnson and their phone number and put it together as one element for you. So if we go back to the edit contact, we're going to go ahead and pull this up. And basically what we need to do is I need to first instantiate a new contact object. So I'm going to do contact. I'm going to just say individual, right? Individual. And we're going to go ahead and make that a new contact, right? And because this new contact is the constructor, I'm going to go ahead and take in, do you see how we have name and phone? We're going to go ahead and use those together. In case you're wondering, Souther, where are you getting this information from for name and phone? How'd you know to put those in the parentheses? Well, if I go to contact.java, look at the contact class, there's this constructor here called public contact, and it takes in the name and the phone number. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So it's going to basically take name plus phone number and put in one element. That's the game right there. So then I'm going to go ahead and use the array list called contacts, and let's use that set method. The set method is going to include, as you see in the documentation, the index, and then this individual, which is what I just created above. So basically it compiles name and phone number together as one element. Let's go ahead and run it. And this is a public void, so no return is needed. So that works just fine. And then we go to address book runner.java. We can go ahead and declare the new object, right? So it's called the address book is what I used. Let's call it like contact list, and that's going to be equal to the new address book, right? Because that's the class. And then we have to bring in that array from above called contacts. That's the parameter it's going to take in. In case you're wondering where you get the parentheses from for contacts, go to the constructor in the address book. There's your constructor. It takes in the array list called contacts. So I'm going to go ahead and use that here, right? And you'll see that we did contacts.add, and they did all the people's names and phone numbers. There's my object. And then we're going to go ahead and do the print. And then it wants a contact. Call the get contact method and print the contact object that is returned. I'll just pick number 1. So contact at index 1. Let's go ahead and do the contact list dot get contact at that item number 1. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and edit. So we're going to do, what are we using here? So contact list, right, is my object. And let's go ahead and call that edit contact method that we just created, right? And it's going to take in the index value, and it's going to take in someone's name and phone number. That has to go in together. So let's go ahead and use, we're going to add somebody or edit somebody. So let's call it, Sean Southard, and then the phone number at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. I don't know. Now let's go ahead and print out that new list. And it's going to be a contact list. There we go. Let's go ahead and print it. See what comes up. I did a lot of coding there. There you go. And there's my list, right? And look, Sean Southern got added there. That came in a little bit later. Why? Oh, shoot. I put 2 instead of 1. Sorry. Oh, that's fine. We'll go ahead and add Emily Johnson, Michael Rodriguez. I missed something here. Edit contact. Let's do it 1. Let's see if I slide up in the list. Yep, there I am. So Sean Slater becomes, at index 1, I slide in front of Sarah Davis and Jason, all them people. So test it. That all works. And that's really the gist of it. We're going to kind of do something very similar in module 7 as well. And I did the voting one in class. So definitely check that out and should be good.